I've been talking to you a lot about getting third-party validation, right? About positioning yourself as an expert, about getting other people to talk about how wonderful you are instead of just you talking about how wonderful you are. Well, this is a great chart where you can start to assign who you want to do what. Some people are good at writing, some people are good at talking. For example, if you're a person who is really a good talker, fast on your feet, very generous, very upbeat, very positive, very engaging, then I'm going to want you to be a phone reference for me, to get on the phone and talk about me. On the other hand, if you're a person who's more academic, more quiet, perhaps introverted, you express yourself better in writing than you do orally, then I may want you to be a person who writes a letter of recommendation, right? So you have to think about who are you asking to help you and what would they be best at. So you have a couple ways to develop your third-party validation. You have your testimonial quotations, which I'll show you in a minute. That's the one-paragraph endorsement. You have your LinkedIn recommendation, which, as Kathy said, you can use for double duty. You can copy and paste your LinkedIn recommendations into a page of testimonials. You can also take a testimonial paragraph and ask somebody to post it on your LinkedIn profile. You're going to have your list of professional references. These are the people who will speak about you on the telephone, so you want them to be the engaging, upbeat, positive type of person who speaks very well. You're going to have your letters of recommendation, which is people who will be very good at writing. Maybe they're not so good at talking on the phone, but they're very compelling in the way that they write about you. Okay? So you start down the left-hand column by putting down the names of everyone who will vouch for you, everyone who will support you in your career transition, and then you start writing their names or putting check marks, actually, check marks in the category that you want them to help you with. And then when they actually give you what you asked for, you cross out the check mark to show that it's done. Isn't that brilliant? It's brilliant, right? Totally brilliant. We're going to give the letter writers and the phone reference people a lot of information so that they can do their job and do it well. You don't just say, hey, do me a favor, Richard, write me a letter of recommendation, see you later. No, you're going to give them a structure to follow, a protocol, examples, etc. When I ask Carolyn to be a phone reference for me, I don't just say, hey, you might get some calls, okay? That's ridiculous. No, I'm going to tell her what I want her to say, how I want her to say it. I want structure. I want control. I want to make sure she does what I want her to do, and I'm not going to leave it to chance. Moreover, I want there to be a consistent message. Right. When they talk to 5 people, I want them to get the same basic message. Not word for word, but the same basic message. That's my job, not hers. That's exactly right. It's my job, not his. In some cases, people will say to you, look, I'm busy, why don't you just write it and I'll sign it. Fine, that's a gift. Say, thank you, God, and you do it because it's a gift. But don't volunteer that unless, number one, they say, just you write it and I'll sign it. Or number two, they take weeks and weeks and they're still not getting it. And then you can call them and say, look, Bob, it's been 3.5 weeks, I haven't seen anything. You're probably pretty busy, right? Oh, yeah, I'm so busy I can't even see straight. Well, I'll tell you what. How about if I put some thoughts down on paper? I'll send it over to you. If you like what you see, you can sign it, or we can finalize it and you can sign the final letter. Or if you want to make some edits, that's fine. But I'll do the heavy lifting. Let me get the thing started. That way you don't have to worry about it. And they usually go, great, fine. But don't call up people and say, hi, would you write a letter for me? Good. How about if I sign it and I write it and you sign it? Don't do that. Because don't volunteer it unless it's clear that that's the only option. Assuming someone actually does what you ask them to do, they will send you back a letter of recommendation. There's a very good chance that this didn't just pop out of their typewriter perfect the first time. Right. There's a very good chance it's going to go back and forth a couple of times, and you're going to have to make some corrections or ask them to add something or ask them to take something out. So it takes a little bit of editing, a little bit, goes through a couple rounds before it's finished. So when you're asking people to write you a letter, tell them up front that you're probably going to go through a couple of rounds and you might want to make some changes for accuracy. See, I don't tell them I'm going to completely edit their letter. I say, I might get back to you with some suggested changes for accuracy. They never balk about that. But they may balk if you say, I'm going to rewrite your entire letter. The other thing is, I would prefer that this be on company letterhead. If you can get them to print this out on their company letterhead and either mail you the original or scan it and send it to you as a PDF, that would also be fine. The best ones are on company letterhead. Some people will say to you, I can't put it on company letterhead, I'm not allowed because of company policy. In which case I say, do it anyway, I'm asking you to make an exception. If they still won't do it, then you say, okay, fine, put it on personal letterhead instead. Put it on personal letterhead instead. If they say, I don't have a personal letterhead, say, I'll create it for you and I'll send it right over. It's not very hard to create this, is it?
Nope, not anymore.
Remember, you're the one in control. You have to get what you want. If you don't ask, you don't get. What do you notice that's different about this list of references? What do you notice right off the bat?
It adds a statement about your relationship.
Exactly. It adds a statement about your relationship to this person. Look, I don't know who this person is. It could be your father. It could be your sister, your uncle, your next door neighbor. I don't know who it is. It could be your wife. So you have to tell me what is the context of the relationship. Ideally, it's going to be a boss or a peer or a subordinate, someone who works closely with you. And it's good to have a cross-section, a wide mix, a 360-degree view.
Right.
Some people think I'm going to have all bosses, because bosses are cool, bosses are great, everybody wants to hear from the boss. No, that's not true. You could have a couple bosses, that's fine, but you should also have some peers, some subordinates. You could have vendors, suppliers, consultants, clients. Did I say clients? Yeah, you want all these kinds of people in a 360-degree arc all around you talking about how wonderful you are. So try to mix it up a little bit. That's the whole point. Try to mix it up.